All right. Well, welcome, Borino. Borino is a very well-known real estate coach around the country. If you have not, if you're not familiar with him, you're going to be after today, and it's a treat. We've had Borino on before, and what you're great at, Borino, is just packing a half hour, 45 minutes with lots of good nuggets, things people can actually take away. And you've got a really interesting history, and I know we're already a little delayed into our time here, so we probably don't want to spend too much time, but you were born in Czechoslovakia, right?
That's right. Yeah, I was born in Czechoslovakia, came to the US as a young immigrant, and had a fabulous idea of getting into real estate and becoming rich.
Yes. How'd that go?
2 years later, I was homeless.
Yeah, where did you live for your first part of that? Yeah.
But you know what, as they say, when the teacher is ready, the student appears. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. And I had both. I had a chance to first learn and now teach a bunch of you guys some cool stuff. So sorry we're running a little late. So can I just take over? Can we just get going? Because I have a bunch of practical stuff I want to share with you, but we got to move really quickly.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
All right. You guys, if you have any questions, post them. I'm going to try to answer as many as I can. I'm going to turn off the camera so you don't get distracted by this handsomeness, and you can focus on the stuff because I want to show you some practical tips how you can right now turn FSBOs into listings. This is a good time to do it. We're entering spring market. There'll be a lot of them popping around. So use these things right now, okay? So let's get started. Let me get going on it. I'm going to jump on the other computer that allows me to share stuff with you. And let's get this party started. All right. So first, a quick disclaimer. I'm not implying you will achieve any results or do anything. That's Monica's house again. Numbers and examples you're going to see are just hypothetical. And what I teach is not a magic answer. This is not a magic bullet. It's going to require work. You will not hit a home run at first. With little tweaking, you're going to get there, but it's going to take a little bit of time. And always do your due diligence. Presentation rated R. That's something I'm famous for, is that I use regular language, you know, the grown-up language. So why are we here? We're going to talk about how to get more appointments, how to get more transactions, and make more commissions. Yes, you want to help people, you want to be cool, but the bottom line is you got to make money. That's how you pay bills. So I'm going to show you today some practical things you can do right now to get there. We're going to talk about why you should work FSBOs right now, why it can be one of your core and the most profitable sources of business for you, where to find them, how to approach them with no resistance strategies. So you don't get a lot of pushback, you feel good, they feel good, you're not some douchey salesman or a salesperson, but you're cool. And I'll show you how to connect with them. I'll give you some follow-up secrets, and I'll show you the 3 most common FSBO objections you're going to get and how to handle them fairly easily. And then I'll tell you about my FSBO Borino system. If you want to take it further, you can. So first of all, thanks Espresso for inviting me. I'm a big fan of Espresso. We're affiliated with you guys. I think it's a great company, and I think it can totally help you, your business. It's a great tool. You should use them. Now let's talk about FSBOs and why they're good listings. Number one reason you should be working FSBOs is you have sellers who want to sell. You already know that there is somebody out there who wants to sell. The toughest part of this business is finding good leads, good motivated people, somebody who wants to move. Here you got people already with a sign in their front yard saying, I'm moving, I want to sell this sucker. Unlike any other method, you can have leads literally within minutes. You can fire up Espresso, you can pull, other than expireds, only FSBOs are leads you have on your fingertips within minutes, which makes it really cool because you don't have to spend hours and hours and hours of prospecting and spending thousands of dollars on marketing and advertising. You can find people right now, people who are doing it right now. So you don't have to wait a year before they're ready to move. They're already in the process. That's what makes them so cool. Now, short follow-up windows with FSBOs. I'm going to give you some quick numbers that I got from several sources, and I'll show you that some of these folks are either ready immediately with the right approach, or they with a little nurturing and a little connection, and you'll see how to do that in just a moment. The window is not that big. 60 to 90% list with an agent. 70% list with 30 days. I recently interviewed a CEO of a company called FSBO. It is one of the largest FSBO sites here in the US where FSBOs advertise, and they've been tracking it. They have over 90,000 FSBOs in their database, and they found, and this was shocking to me, that 7 out of 10 end up listing in 30 days. So for those of you guys who still think, well, FSBOs sell on their own, FSBOs don't list with agents, they hate agents, they don't want to pay commissions. True, at the beginning. But very soon, they wake up and realize, shit, this is not that easy. This is a lot more complicated, a lot more difficult, and not as simple. And our house is clearly not so fabulous that we're going to have people line up in the front door. So those are the statistics. And notice, just look around, that for sale sign, FSBO signs are very often replaced with agent signs. So that means it's an opportunity for you. Now, why do FSBOs go FSBO? Few simple reasons. First, of course, they want to save money, logically. They don't like real estate agents. They may have some prior or current real estate experience, and they think it's easy. That's usually why they want to go FSBOs. Now, the cool thing is once you understand their psychology, you can start influencing their behavior without being manipulative and salesy. That's one of the things I teach, and that's one of the things I believe in. You can make a lot of money, be cool, and not to be aggressive, salesy, closing anyone, and still crush it and help a lot of people. This is a profile of home buyers and sellers. This is a study done every year by National Association of Realtors. If you don't have a copy, I encourage you, go on their website, order it. It's $20 if you're a member. Really good stuff. Lots of good data. But this is the most important part that will illustrate my point. Look at this column here in this row. Method used to sell a home between 2001 and 2017. How many were for sale by owners and how many were real estate assisted sales? Look at the numbers. In 2001, 13% of the homes were FSBOs. And now notice how it's dropping, which is kind of counterintuitive. You would think, well, today with all the technologies, all the resources and internet and all that, shouldn't it be easier to sell? Clearly it's not. Look at the data. Last year, only 8% of the properties sold for sale by owner, which is the lowest since they tracked this, are FSBOs. Yes, they think they can sell. Yes, they're trying, but look at the numbers. They're not selling. Only 8 homes out of 100 are sold by for sale by owner. And if you look closely, it's getting worse and worse. So there's a good chance it's going to get worse down the road. They need your help. They need you. They just don't know it yet. They don't know how difficult, how complex, how complicated, and how costly it can be without an agent. Now, the truth is, we don't like working FSBOs. Many of you, I know, have resistance towards them. I used to. Until I realized these are just people. People who have a problem, they have to move or want to move for one reason or another. And they're just trying to solve it, their way. Sometimes in a funny way, like this one. Husband left us for a 22-year-old, house for sale by a scorned, slightly bitter, newly single owner. Or like this one. This is from an actual house. This was a $375,000 listing. Look at that open house sign. Or this one, house for sale by owner because my neighbor is an asshole. Owner ready to croak, must sell, make an offer. So the question I have for you is, knowing this and knowing that many agents can convert FSBOs with the right systems and the right tools and a little bit of patience, why not? What's stopping you? Give me some reasons. I'm just kind of curious real quick. I know we're kind of tight on time, but I'm just curious. What are some reasons you feel like you don't want to work FSBOs? Just type it into the chat box. Give me some quick reasons why you feel like I don't want to work with them because scared. David, that's true actually. And I appreciate your honesty. Fear is one of the top reasons why agents don't want to work with them. They're scared. They're scared of, rejection, being yelled at, being rejected, being turned down and all that. What else? They don't value service. That is so true, Maureen. Absolutely. I don't know how. Yes. Ego. Oh, that's a good one. Yes. You're absolutely right. Most are investors, says James. Interesting. Do you know that? Do you have data for that, or is it just an assumption? There are angry people, Serapi says. Yes. Loss of money. FSBOs are not transparent. That's true. They can be, George, you're absolutely right. They can be they're holding back. And I'll explain to you why in just a moment. Most FSBOs in my area lease with flat fee companies. True. Some of them do, yes. Assumption based on numbers I've called. Okay, good. Fair enough. Lazy agent, Mike. Hey, Mike, what's happening, brother? Attachment to how they react to our attempt of reaching them. Yes. And it can be unpleasant at times, especially if you use those old stale scripts, some agents still use from 1987 that I'm not a big fan of. All right, cool. Well, thanks for that. So now, here's what I would like you to understand. Even if you reach out to a FSBO, and let's say you email them, they don't email you back. You text them, they don't respond back. Or you do talk to them and they turn you down. Because they have to go through the process. It's one thing if you're told something, and something very different if you experience it on your own. When you go through it, you come to a conclusion that this is a bad idea, which so many FSBOs do, as you saw the statistics. So their no very often just means not right now. If you give it some time, and if you patiently walk them through the process, and I'm going to give you the process in just a second, you will see that very often the initial no is just a knee-jerk reaction. I was at the store not long ago, wallet in my pocket, ready to buy. And when the salesperson approached me, hey, can I help you? I reactively said, oh, no, thank you, I'm just looking. Bullshit, I was ready to buy. It's a reaction. And because they've been approached by a lot of incompetent, aggressive, or needy low-status agents, they just react. What I want to show you is what's called an active approach. That means you don't passively wait for the FSBO to come to you. Like you don't mail them some silly letter or drop off some fancy package about how wonderful your company is. This is an active approach where you pull them in. You take the initiative. So let me show you how it works. You make the first contact. That's important. You reach out. You call them, you email them, you stop by, you fire up Espresso, get their contact information, bam, you reach out to them. Next, you go for a visit. It is the easiest, fastest way to build trust and relationship, to get to know the seller, get to know the property. Short, quick little visit. I'll show you how that's done real quick. Not that hard. And then you decide after the visit. You chat with the seller, you qualify them. Spend a few minutes there, ask a few questions. You will either drop them. And the only reason I would drop a seller, there's only one reason I would drop them, if I'm 100% sure they're not motivated. If I'm clear these people are not that motivated, they have no desire to sell, they're very unrealistic, or they're really assholes, like they're not really pleasant people. But they're not that many. Most you will encounter, if you approach them right, you'll see that they're pretty pleasant, pretty cool people. And then majority of them you're going to put on follow-up. Very few are going to convert right away. And this is a mistake so many agents make, even experienced agents. It would be just like being on a first date and offering the girl to marry her. You know, you would scare her. Take some time through follow-up. Follow-up is the key. All the way to a listing appointment. Now, occasionally you will click with the seller. It's possible. They'll be really motivated. You use the right approach. They like you. You like them. There's a lot of trust. You can go for it. I don't discourage you, but don't get discouraged if it doesn't happen. It's a process, and that process usually goes through the follow-up step. So here is how you find them. So let's say you use Espresso. You get their email, or you have the phone number. I'll give you the script in just a moment. Or you go on a site. Even you can start on Craigslist. You find a few FSBOs. So here's your first approach. Your home for sale. It looks like a very nice home, especially the kitchen. That's my opening. And the reason I want to open with something so specific is for two reasons why I have it there. One, of course, is to get attention. That gets their attention. Two, it appears as a personal note rather than a template reader. That means I've seen the property, I've seen a couple of pictures, you simply find something that catches your attention or the seller highlights as the most important part of the house, and you make a quick comment on it. That's the whole secret. But now I'm positioned away from the typical templated emails and notes and calls that people get to something very personal, which is really the core of what I teach, which is called authentic connections, where you don't have to pretend to be some kind of sales persona. You're just yourself. And if there's something cool about the house, you simply comment on it. And then you introduce yourself. It's Borino with ABC. We have 4 properties listed in the neighborhood. They are generating high buyer traffic. Will you work with me if I can bring you a qualified buyer and help you sell the property? Now, notice that I'm not lying to them. Never lie, never mislead. I am 100% transparent and honest. I'm not saying I have a buyer because I really don't know if I do. All I'm saying is we have listings in the area. We're getting some buyers. If somebody was interested, do you cooperate with agents? If so, please email me back. You can get a quick 5-minute tour tomorrow. You can also call my cell.
Hey,
nice and simple. My goal at this stage, remember that graph I just showed you, at first is to initiate conversation. That's all I want. That's my first step. Make the first call and make a conversation. This email, super simple. Most sellers, if you do it right with a nice opening like I showed you, will respond. Most sellers, most FSBOs will say, yeah, we will work something out. Some will not respond, which is cool. You're going to send a follow-up email. Is your house still for sale? I would like to show it. Please email me when you have a moment. You can also call my cell. You're going to send that 3 days after the first one. And then what? You try again. And then what? You try again. You can ease off, give them a week, give them 2 weeks, because here's what's happening. Especially when the FSBO is at the beginning of the process. They're very optimistic, they're very passionate, they're very excited, you know? Just like when when I started learning to play, I got back to keyboards. I want to play keyboards again. I used to, I got back. And I'm thinking, I'm going to get it. I bought a beautiful keyboard, hooked it up to my computer, got the whole studio set up. I'm going to do it. And then I realized how much freaking work it is. And it's a process. Same thing with the FSBO. At the beginning, they're passionate, excited, optimistic, not very realistic. And as the time goes by, based on their motivation, within a few days, a weeks, or even a few months, they suddenly wake up and say, bad idea. So the email that may have been ignored 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago may get noticed now. Then you're going to make the first contact. Here is a simple script outline. I never want you to memorize scripts. Because the moment you start reciting scripts, you're going to sound just like every other salesperson, just like every other telemarketer, just like every other solicitor. What I encourage you to do is have these script outlines. This one is from Coach Borino, my system, how to convert FSBOs into listings. And you simply follow it. You practice it a little so you're comfortable. You know how to sound natural. And you simply start the conversation. Hi, this is Borino. No, don't worry. I'm not another agent trying to list your house. So you can relax and smile now. This opening is called pattern interrupt because it's so different, again, from all the other phone calls they normally get, which are usually quite stiff. Usually agent is either too salesy, too aggressive, or tries to be too nice, too low status. You interrupt that pattern immediately. You switch immediately to a very conversational way. And you will notice that if you do this right, very often, most often, the reaction you're going to get is a little chuckle or a laugh. Why? Because most agents call to try to convince them right over the phone to list with them. Big mistake. So you take a very different tack. You can relax and smile. My name is Borino. What is yours? Yes, I repeat my name. You know why? I want them to start getting familiar with my name. So I say it twice. May I ask a couple of questions about the house real quick? In your opinion, what's the condition on scale 1 to 5? What is the best part of the house? What's your opinion? Now, if I could bring a qualified, motivated buyer, would you be willing to work with me? Most FSBOs, especially those who have been on the market for quite some time, will say, yeah, we work something out. You don't promise you have a buyer because you really don't know if you do. You have a buyer once they sign a contract and they're ready to buy that house. Everybody else before that is just a prospect. And you always have prospects, especially if the house is beautiful and priced well. You could probably find somebody for it. So you have prospects. You don't need to lie or be misleading. Now, what if they say no? You simply ask, may I ask why not? Well, we want to save the money and we're getting tons of buyers. Oh, excellent. Good for you. Give them some more time. You don't need to push or persuade. You can ask them a question. Well, let me ask you a question. What if you could put a little more cash in your pocket? Or if there was a chance you put a little more money in your pocket, even after paying a commission? Would you at least consider it? But it has been just a few days on the market or a few weeks, and they're getting action, and many of these homes do. They will not hear it. So I would rather go for, well, let me keep in touch, see if I can help you in any way. I'll call you back. And you call them back another week, 7, 10 days later. Now, those that say yes, which will be a majority, you will say, well, obviously, I need to take a quick look first before I can recommend it to my prospects. Will you have 10 minutes this afternoon? Should I bring a list of best free websites where you should advertise? Would that be helpful? 2 important things that are happening there. The 10 minutes is called a time constraint. It's another pattern interrupt, plus it also removes any possible resistance that the sellers have. What are they really afraid of? That the salesperson will show up in their fancy 3-piece suit, in their Cadillac, and then spend 2 hours trying to convince the seller to list with them. Because they've been through it before, because I know that's what the other agents do, because they've been through that old training shit. So you can't do that. So you remove that free immediately, saying, I'm going to take 10 minutes. Because in the seller's mind right now, it is, oh, cool, so this guy's going to help me. And the worst case scenario is if he's a total douche, it's going to take 10 minutes and he's out of here. So it's a very safe proposition to the seller. It also indicates another thing, and you're communicating indirectly here, and that is, I'm busy. I'm a high-status agent, not a needy schlep salesperson. Now, the final part is, should I bring a list of best websites to advertise? Is an offer to create reciprocity. It is a gesture of, I want to help. I want to be cool. I want to be helpful. Something I can bring you that will serve you, that will help you. So also nudge the seller to say, well, sure, come on over. There is a benefit to them. There is an incentive to them. Does that make sense? So this is how you handle it. This is the most important part, is the time constraint. make sure you do have the time constraint in place. You don't want to act and sound and think and do things that average agents do. Being pushy, pushing the seller, convincing them, trying to convert them, persuade them. You're going to meet a lot of resistance doing that. The approach I would suggest is encourage the seller. I mean, if you look at it from a seller's perspective, doesn't it make sense? If they can sell on their own and save $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, wouldn't that make sense to at least try? From my perspective, it makes perfect sense. Wouldn't you rather save money if you could? So that's what they're doing. It seems logical to them. So set up the time constraint, position yourself from the beginning as a helpful advisor, and smile. Those are the three best things. You do this on the phone, you do this in person, you're going to get a lot further with these folks. You're not there to pressure them. You're not there to influence them in unethical ways. You're simply trying to meet them, get to know them a little, understand their situation, and see if you can help them. The visit is a fast way to build that trust, because the face-to-face communication is just easy. So what you want to build the trust on is build the connection with them, build a relationship with them, and go for trust. So let's talk about that visit. There are three things I don't want you to do when you meet these sellers. Number one, don't gush. Oh my God, you have such a cute little kitty. I love kitties. They're the cutest, sweetest things. Don't do that. Don't linger. You said 10 minutes, it's 10 minutes. That will also elevate your pace and your energy. And three, don't talk too much. Especially if you're nervous, if you haven't done this a lot, there's a tendency people tend to talk a little too much. Let the seller do most of the talking. Let them do the talking. The best things you can do is ask a few questions. So keep the visit short, smile, have a good time. Ask questions. Any interaction, this is not just for FSBOs, this really applies for everybody, is keep it light. Keep the interaction light, because they're already in a state of resistance. They're already in a state of worrying that there's another sales stranger going through their house and God knows what they're going to try to pull. So lighten it up. Couple of good questions to ask. These work always very well. Everybody wants to give their opinion. What do you think? What's your opinion? What do you think? Now, there are a couple of ways you can formulate the what do you think. I love asking it all the time. But here's how you can ask in a positive way. What do you think is the best part of the house? What do buyers like the most? What do they comment the most? Let them answer. And here's a second way you can ask. What do you think would be one thing that would cause your property not to sell? What do you think will be the one barrier that's going to be in the way? What do you think? What's your opinion? And let's see how they react. This is one of the critical questions you always ask. You always need to know how long the property has been for sale. Why? Because it's been for sale for 2 days. There's a very good chance the seller's optimism is still at 100%. If it's been 90 days, you have a much better chance. So you need to know. But it also will tell you about their motivation. How long has it been for sale? Well, we all move because life will be better, hopefully, somewhere else. What is it for you guys? What am I really asking? Why are they selling? The problem with why are you selling, the question tends to be a little direct. So I want to soften it up. This is a nice, softer way to ask that. And then also, I want to start shifting their state. A lot of what I teach you guys in my programs is not selling. I'm not a good salesman. Never really wanted to be. I actually sucked in all 3 sales jobs I ever had. But I teach you psychology, how to influence people, how to win people on your side, how to connect with them authentically through psychology, through human behavior, through understanding what makes people tick. One of the things you already know is people make emotional decisions. It's all based on emotions. We are emotional-driven creatures. We then justify and explain and reason through logic. But the trigger is always emotional. So if I can change their state, how they feel, and talk about excitement of living somewhere else, now I'm not only linking those emotions to me, but to the whole idea of moving and selling, which is usually what? Stressful, difficult, hard. That's the whole point behind it. Why not go with a good agent like most sellers? This is called a positioning question. Who is, in their subconscious mind, linked as a good agent now? Well, because I'm asking that question, I'm present. I'm implying that would be me. And I'm also implying most sellers go with an agent. Now, I don't do it in a direct, convincing way. I do it in an indirect way. And they will tell you, we want to save money, we hate agents, whatever the honest answer would be. How much more time are you going to give it? Again, I'm probing for motivation. I'm probing what is the real problem that they're trying to solve by selling the house. Do you have a plan B? This is, again, one of those critical questions. I need to know, what happens if the house doesn't sell, if they can't sell on their own? Will they rent it out? Will they list? Will they stay? What's the plan? So how do you get at all this stuff, these conversations? You know, the biggest secret that helped me? Practice. Practice. I found my buddy Tony in my office. We had a cup of coffee every morning and 20 minutes just back and forth like ping pong. That's the secret. You can really get good at this. When I do role plays and we do these live sessions and all that, people always say, oh, you got so good at it. You know the secret. I practice. You don't need special skills for this. There's no secret talent or special skill you need for this to have these kind of communications and conversations. Now, you do have to be good at it. Be prepared. Remember what I said at the beginning. First, you're going to screw it up, and that's okay. It's part of the process. Then you're going to get a little better. And then you're going to get a little better. And with some practice and some real interactions you're going to get with FSBOs, you can reach a point where you got this down. Shouldn't take too long. It is not that difficult. Because at the end, and that's the cool thing about being in real estate, is it's still a people business. We have these phenomenal tools like Espresso. We have all these resources. But at the end, it's one human being helping another human being. That's the bottom line. As you do this, you will get some objections. You will get some pushback from the sellers. So some of the things you're going to hear is, we're not in a hurry. We have all the time in the world. Or you're going to hear, well, we have a friend who has a license, so we're going to go with our friend if we were to list. Or, that's a variation, we already have an agent. Those are usually three you're going to get the most. Other than, no, bring us a buyer, right? I'll address that in just a moment. So if you're wondering how do you address that, because some sellers may ask, not many, but some will. Only show our house if you have a buyer. But these are the three. We're not in a hurry. Now, we're not in a hurry is a tricky one. Some sellers, especially who've been on the market for quite some time, I got bashed by a lot of agents, figure out that's a good way to get rid of a lot of agents. Because a lot of these are not really objections. And a lot of times agents get stuck not because they're not cool, but because they think they're handling an objection. So they have this clever script to come back. Where the reality is not really an objection, it's just a brush. It's just a polite way of sellers saying, get lost. Jump in a lake, we don't want to deal with you. That's really what they're doing. So we're not in a hurry. Very often, it's just a brush. They are in a hurry. They want to sell. They just don't trust you. The issue there is trust. Now, yes, you got to be careful because occasionally they may have a seller who is not motivated and they're really in no hurry. And that's the last thing you want, somebody who has 2 years to get the property sold. Don't want to do that. Your mastery depends on your ability to decipher. Is it a brush? Is it the issue trust? Or is it really a lack of motivation? Once you do this for a while, it really is a matter of feeling it out, and you will be pretty accurate at this. Now let's talk about the other two. I call bullshit on the two. And here's why. When they say, friend has a license or we have an agent, what I encourage you to do is don't pay attention to the words, but their actions. Think about it this way. You have a dear, dear friend. Would you let that friend go for sole by owner if you were really close and if they really trusted you as an expert? Of course not. You would help them, right? Would you let your family or mom sell on their own and be on the mercy of some investor or some crooks or some other agent? No, you would step in and help. So there are one of two possibilities. Either that friend is not all that competent, they don't think too highly of them, or their relationship is not that strong, or they're just making the whole shit up just to get rid of you. Is it possible they have a friend? Well, yeah, it's possible. Is it possible they're going to end up listing with him? Sure, it's possible, and occasionally that will happen. But until and unless it does, it's game on, which is the general rule I want to give you when working with FSBOs. Unless and until they list, it's game on. And the only time you don't work with them is just lack of motivation. That's it. So what you're going to do is keep in touch until the FSBO either sells on their own or lists. That's it. Keep in touch. Don't pay much attention to the noise and the deflections and the brushes you're going to get. That's just that knee-jerk, we're just looking reaction that they give to every single one. Because ask yourself this, who's going to get the listing at the end? Who is the best candidate? Is it the agent with the most aggressive approach? Is it the agent who memorized all the scripts Or is it the agent who is most helpful, cool, and who is persistent in their follow-up? This is not a sprint. Playing this game is a long-term game. That means it's going to take some time building that relationship and trust, getting over the barriers that they're going to throw in your way. But you can't lose, even just with a little persistence and a little patience. Which means your follow-up is critical. Get a good CRM. There's a whole bunch of them out there. Get a tool like Espresso so you have fresh feed of the data of the for sale by owners. Move them into your CRM and keep in touch. That's the whole magic. Here's what's going to happen. Majority of your listings will come from follow-up. And it's going to take sometimes days, sometimes weeks, sometimes months. So what? If you just keep feeding that pipe with fresh leads, you will always be taken care of. This always can be a great source. This is one of the best pieces you can send them. Best piece of follow-up. Nice handwritten thank you note. Get them. Use send out cards if you're on send out cards. I love send out cards. Or just get them at like a office store. They work really well. Dear Susan, thanks for taking a few moments to chat with me about your house today. I will send the info to all my buyers right away. Please call me if there's anything I can do to help. Borino, your real estate agent. That's it. Nice and simple. Handwritten, personal. This goes a long way. Here's another thing that I encourage you to do as you work with the FSBO. If you do have somebody interested, or if you do have somebody says, hey, would you like to see this house? The guy's selling on his own, but it's a really cute place. Let's go take a look at it. Just show it. Why not? Some more follow-up secrets for you. Your persistence is more important than content. Don't overthink what you're going to send them. As long as your follow-up is interesting, helpful, engaging, and fun, instead of being boring, stale, salesy, self-centered, you're good. At the end, think about it. It's always going to end up in the trash anyway, so don't overthink it. It is your name, your face, and something helpful that's associated with you that matters the most. Contact each FSBO every 7 to 10 days. After about 14 days, they completely forget who you are. Because there are other agents, they have a bunch of problems in life, they deal with hundreds of other things. You're not that important to them. So keep reminding them. The best way to remind them is give them a quick call once in a while. Follow-up must be relevant, interesting, and helpful. And that goes for any follow-up. That's not just with FSBOs. That's just a general rule you should have in place. Here are the sites, by the way, to bring to the for sale by owner where they can promote their property. Craigslist, YouTube, Facebook, Zillow, for sale by owner, FSBOowners.com. There's a whole bunch of others. Edit it, add to it. But this is a good starting point.
Hey, Borino.
So what are some of the things you can talk about? Yes, did you have a question, Monica?
Yeah, I do. The relevant, interesting follow-up. Do you have some examples of what you like to do there, or just one or two to give us some mindset?
Funny you said that. It's just on the screen. We're just going to talk about it right now.
Oh, here we go. Look at that.
Yes. So here are some of the things you can talk about. Help them set up a Google Voice. So let me give you an example. Remember the positioning we talked about? You always want to position yourself as a helpful advisor, not a needy salesperson. So imagine you're talking to a for sale by owner, and you say, well, you know what, Jack? It is not a good idea to have your cell phone number advertised and trumpeted to the whole world like that. Protect your privacy. Why don't you set up a Google Voice? Or better yet, I will help you set up for you. I'll walk you through it. It's free. It's simple. We're going to be up and running in 5 minutes. But this way, you protect your identity. You protect your cell number. It's better for you. Plus, you can screen and monitor the calls you're going to be getting. Would most sellers say no, get lost? Or would most sellers say, yeah, show me, teach me? Think about it. So now you have something that doesn't cost you a dime, that's easy to set up and implement. You can do this for them, by the way. And you immediately reposition yourself. Oh, this guy's cool. He's helpful. You with me? So that's one of them. Let me give you more. How to post on Craigslist. Teach them. Now you're thinking, oh, shit, Borino, that's kind of crazy. Why would I help them sell their house? Because if you're not authentic, if you're just pretending to be helpful, if you're faking it just to get the listing, they're going to see right through it. And like you saw in just a minute ago, some will sell on their own. Whether you help them or not doesn't matter. But as you saw the other statistics, you already know chances are very much against them. So you don't have much to lose. So be helpful, be cool. Next, show them how to create a YouTube video, a simple slideshow. You can use like a PowerPoint or Keynote, pop some pictures in there, some property information, put some music underneath it, cut it. It's done in 10 minutes. And now you're their hero. Next, how to design an engaging flyer. There are a bunch of free templates, free resources. Help them out, because if you saw the for sale sign, right? You saw it, the $370,000 property. It was shitty. It was a piece of cardboard. Their flyers are most of the time not much better. So help them. Say, hey, let's present this property. This is a beautiful home. I'm sure you have professional pictures done, right? Can you send me some? Oh, no, you don't? Oh, my listings do. You see how it works? So those are just some of the things. You can help them make a property video. Walk them through it. Here's how you do a good property video, whether using pictures, slideshow, but you got to tell them, look, Facebook, YouTube, they're huge right now. Buyers like to kind of get the feel for the property before they set their foot in. They want to see nice pictures. They want to see a video walkthrough. I'll help you. I'll give you some pointers how to do that. So those are just some of the things. You can come up with a bunch of others. The idea is to always be cool and be helpful, something that benefits the seller. Here's the secret. In the FSBO, you get like 20 of these, by the way. There's a whole bunch of them. Different things you can do with templates, resources, and all that is there for you. But the secret is most sellers, most FSBOs will not do that. They will not do any of this. They don't have the time, the skill, or the desire. Majority will not do that. They will be impressed. They will find it very helpful. They will find you very helpful and cool. But they're going to sit there and try to do all this. On contrary, they will start recognizing and realizing how complicated, difficult, complex, and involved it is to sell a house. It is not just to stick a sign out there, put one ad on Zillow, and be done with it, or on Craigslist. It takes a lot more than that. And little by little, you're introducing them to this process through just being cool and being helpful, rather than overwhelming them, rather than trying to sell them on it. You're simply helping and guiding them. Does that make sense? Yeah? Any more questions about this, Monica?
No, just that somebody was asking, can they see this again? And yes, the answer is this will be on Espresso Agent's YouTube channel. So everybody can go back and review this great information. Keep
there we go.
Rolling, Borino.
All right. I know I'm going real quick through these guys, but I just wanted to show you. Here's another thing you can do. These are a couple of my students. This is Sylvia. Oh, Silvana. What have you done to, whoops, went back too fast. So you got all these. Let's do this. So Silvana is one of my students. She has the FSBO Borino system. What have you done to help FSBO so the end gets the listing? And Jackie, another one of my students, says, show them how to post on Zillow. See that? Being cool and helpful. Answered questions when they were presented with a low offer. Send them 2 free tickets to our local home and garden show. And after 3 months, FSBO, they felt they weren't reaching enough people. I listed the condo this past Monday, and they accepted an offer yesterday after having 10 showings in 5 days. We're all extremely pleased. Do you think the seller was really impressed by Jackie? Of course. That's it. Cool and helpful. Here's another idea. Darcy, another one of my graduates, just got a listing yesterday from a FSBO. How? Doing an open house. Did not pressure her at all. Honestly showed her I was trying to help. That's the whole secret. You can do open houses for FSBOs, by the way. That's a really good strategy. If the house qualifies, now make sure it qualifies. It's a clean property, good location, easy access. That all is important. And you have enough rapport and connection with the seller. And then, of course, you have to work out the legal aspect. I can't advise you on that. You know, what happens if another agent brings a buyer, what happens if you sell it, and all that stuff. But just being cool and helpful and do an open house just to show initiative that you want to help, unlike everybody else who's just trying to get the listing, will reposition you very, very quickly. Okay? So here's the secret. You're going to try to sit there and try to come up with an expired, with a FSBO package. Or you're going to try to figure out the best FSBO letter. Or you're going to try to do this and that. Don't. Don't. It's your little monkey brain, the little, little drunken monkey voice, trying to talk you out of it, because it can be a little scary and a little uncomfortable at first. And it will be. It's okay. It's just like riding a bike at first. You know, you got the training wheels on. It's like, oh, shit. It's scary. Once you get the hang of it, several things will happen. You're going to get good at it. People will respond. They'll be pretty nice to you. And what's the worst that can happen? What's the absolute worst? Let's say you screw it up completely. You just completely blow it up. Completely horrible. Here's the best part about working FSBOs and also expireds and other lead sources. There'll be more tomorrow. There'll be another one tomorrow and another one the day after. No big deal. No big deal. Nobody got hurt. You will live. You will survive. Just take action. Take action. Contact a few FSBOs just to see what it's like, how it goes. Here's what's going to happen at the end. You start working the system. Oops. I am just a Speedy Gonzalez today. I'm trying to go through it real quick because I'm mindful of the time and I know I want to answer your questions. So this is what's going to happen at the end. You will never get them all. I have some rock stars, some of my students. doing over $1 million in gross commissions, crushing it, superstars, nailing listings left and right. They still can't get them all. Nobody can get them all. So don't beat yourself up if one gets away or sell on their own, or even with your help. You're just being helpful. But here's what I promise you. If you do this well, if you study it and diligently follow it, and if you do it in high enough volume, some will list with you. Some will sell on their own. Some will never sell. Some will just rent it out. Some, and that hurts when they list with another agent. But out of those, some will end up with you. How many will depend on you? How committed you will be, how you follow the system, how committed you are to making it work, working out the kinks and staying with it, or getting a system. If you have a system, step-by-step system like I put together for you, you can figure a lot of that out by yourself. This is not like magic bullet, but it's just going to accelerate and it's going to give it all of it for you in the box. So let's talk about some trouble that you may run into. One, not enough contacts. If you're working FSBOs and it's not working, the first thing you want to look at is, am I contacting enough people to begin with? Because if you just contact one FSBO a week, then you're wasting your time. It's a numbers game. You need to reach enough people because you saw the graph just a while ago. Some will not list, some will sell. So you need to have that pipeline fed with enough potential prospects for this to work. Second problem is not enough follow-up. You made the initial contact, you reached out, but then it just kind of disappeared. You get dropped off their radar, you lose the connection with them. It is a persistent follow-up that will ultimately convert them into listings. So make sure you have a CRM and you just follow up with them. And the third problem is not enough trust. You've built a connection with them. My eye's been bugging me today. Sorry about that, guys. I'm not crying over this. I really like this stuff. It's not enough trust. Somehow you're raising the red flag. You're tripping their alarms. It can be your verbal communication. You may be too scripted. You may try to be too nice. You know, the like me. Don't want to do that. Or you're too aggressive. Or you're not paying attention. They don't feel the connection. That's where the practice is so important. One of the things I would suggest you get is a little pocket recorder. Get one of those little digital recorders and record yourself to make sure you do sound authentic. Because it's the communication that's the real secret. There's no magic postcard. There's no magic brochure. There's no magic anything. Because all of these tools will just lead to one point where you have to have a conversation with the seller. And if you botch that conversation, if you screw it up, if you don't sound authentic and real to them, or if they don't believe you're their best choice, there's nothing that's going to recover. There's nothing that's going to save you. So it is your ability to come across as helpful, cool, high status, passionate advisor that will get you there. Okay? So here is what I want you to stay away from. Sounding needy, nervous, hesitant, and insecure. Be careful. Now, you may not be any of those things. You may not feel like it. That may not be who you are. You may have the best interest at heart. You may be very passionate. It's very often verbal and nonverbal signals we send that the seller picks on. And they react with throwing an objection, which is really just a brush or a barrier your way. That's the one problem you've got to solve. And if you're continuously running into the wall with FSBOs, I guarantee you the problem is somewhere in your communication more than anything else. It is not the commission structure. It is not the size of your company. It is not how many years you've been in the business. It's just in their opinion, you are not their best choice. They don't like you, trust you, and respect you enough to sign with you. That's the answer. Okay. Go into this expecting success. That means expect good leads because there are people out there who need your help. You saw the statistics. NAR predicts what, about $5.4 million homes sold this year. Tons of business, and tons of those will be FSBOs that end up being listed, that end up being sold. Somebody's going to get paid. Expect that to be you. It's going to take about 60 to 90 days to really master this stuff. If it's taking longer than that, you're screwing up. Something's not right. It shouldn't be that way. But I want you to expect listings. I want you to go in expecting some people will not be cool and lovely, and some people will be super nice. Some people are motivated, and some people not so much. It's okay. But again, if you do it in high volume, you're going to meet enough of those who do need your help. And expect to make money. This should be a very profitable source. You saw just a couple of examples. Now, I can promise you those same results, obviously. But I assure you, somebody's going to end up listing him. Why not you? What is it about you that you bring to the table that the seller would appreciate? And I'm sure every single one of you has something that the seller says, yeah, I like that. Whether it's your passion, whether it's your expertise, yours in a business, your skill, your communication, or like in my case, good looks. You know, you just it can be anything. All right. Let's see if I have, there you go. One last thing I wanted to share with you. Your confident communication and your ability to have a system in place will really be the critical aspect. Now, the system is helpful. Now, I have a system. I told you about it. It's called FSBO. It's the whole thing. You can get it. Comes with a book you're going to get from us in the mail. I will show you how to find FSBOs, how to approach them, how to follow up with them, all that. So you know how to go through the whole circle all the way to a listing contract. You can get it. One option, it's $397. We take 2 payments, so you can get that one. You will see where to find them, the strategies we talked about, how to create what I call a magnetic first impression. Very important, first 4 seconds, where people decide whether they like you or not. How to position yourself from the beginning as an advisor rather than a salesperson. I'll show you the follow-up library that you're gonna need. Now, you can skip all that because I have a program where you can get this for free if you want. I have a coaching program called The Path, where one of the programs you're gonna get from me for free is the FSBO. So if you wanna check it out, go to goborino.com. Let me actually show you the URL on this slide. goborino.com and you can get it. There's more details on it. You can check it out. It's right here. These are the systems. Everything I've ever put together comes with the program. Looks like this. The price is $197 a month. It's a membership. You can stay for as long as you want. There it is. So you get the FSBO system. You get my new referral system, expired system, online lead generation, follow-up systems, all that we work on. I teach you and we work on it. So go check out goborino.com if you're interested in that. We'd love to have you on board. It's a great group. We have a private Facebook group. We have live coaching sessions. There's a whole bunch of stuff that comes with the program. So you can have a good life. You can have it all. This is just as much about good expectations and good mindset, too fast again, as it is about having the right systems. All right, let's take some questions, Monica. Do we have any good questions?
Yeah, we do have some questions. And I know we can't get into great detail here, but a question about the slideshow turned into a video on YouTube. Do you know where they can find out how to do that?
What I encourage you to do, sorry, my remote is lagging a little. What I encourage you to do is just figure out how to do a basic slideshow on Keynote or in PowerPoint. It's actually really simple stuff. Okay. All you have to do, like this, what I put together, look at this screen right now. See all those pictures?
Yeah.
Those are just photographs that I pasted into the slideshow. It's a Keynote. So you open your Keynote, take the photos, and you can do like a collage like I did, or you can do like, see these? These are just little photos that I placed in there. Or you can do 1 per page, and then you just record it as a slideshow. And there are a bunch of videos if you go on YouTube how to do that. Pretty simple stuff. Yeah. You can also, Keynote, I don't know about PowerPoint. I don't work in PowerPoint, but I'm sure you can do it as well. In Keynote, you can even add a little soundtrack. So you can put like a little soft music. Nice. Super simple. Nice little transitions between slides. Shouldn't take you more than 10, 15 minutes to do.
Yeah, perfect. I think the best advice there that you just gave was go into YouTube and search it. I'm sure somebody is showing you how to do it.
Here's what I can tell you. If this guy figured it out, Mr. Technical, you can figure it out.
It's all good, right? Okay, another question was, what's the amount I need to contact to pick up 5 a month? Do you, obviously that'll depend on anyone's ability probably to connect, but
yes, there are a lot of factors that will influence, and I can mislead you with numbers, but I can share with you what my expectations would be. Let's say I'm starting all over again and I'm working FSBOs. Here would be my numbers. Yours will be very different, but mine would be this. If I want to end up with 5 listings, I would have to know how many FSBOs does it take to convert 5 into listings. So I would work it backwards. So let me show you real quick. So 5 listings, I will need to go on 12 appointments, 12 listing appointments. Out of 12, I will convert. Those are, again, my numbers. In order for me to get 12 appointments, I will need 5 times the number of leads. That means I will need 50, 60 leads to get there. So I will have to have 60 potential leads in my system to get my 10.
So 2 a day if you're looking at a month.
Yeah, but here's a good rule. If you can just talk to 1 for sale by owner a day, 5 a week, 1 a day, 5 a week, that's 20 conversations you can have in 1 month. Mm-hmm. How many of those 20 conversations do you think you can convert into potential leads, appointments, and listings? Now, again, I can give you my assumption, my expectation would be out of 20 conversations, half would become my leads. So that's 10. Out of those 10s, half I could convert into appointments. That's 5 appointments. And out of those 5, 3 to 4 would become a listing.
That's awesome. You know,
and if they're not, I would fix the system because either I'm come across as salesy or something is not working.
That makes sense. What struck me, what I loved was the sort of umbrella of the authenticity around this whole thing and just coming from contribution. And that wins every time in all aspects of business, really, right? And I imagine that even if the FSBO sells on their own, if you've shown up right in the fashion in which you're describing, there are referrals for you because now there's a relationship there.
Yeah.
And
that's a really good point. And I will add one more thing to it.
Yeah.
I don't understand exactly how this works. I just promise you it does. I've seen it so many times. I'm not even surprised anymore. If you're cool and nice to one seller over here and you help them, whether they directly pay you somehow or they don't, the money will come tenfold from something else.
100%. The universe.
It never fit. Right, Monica? You experienced it.
100%. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I love it. I love it. Michael asks, during the 7 to 10, every 7 to 10 day follow-up, without a script, what questions are you asking each week? Have you gotten showings? Have you gotten offers? Those kind of things.
That's not a bad question. I would also offer a little tidbit of some curious thing because you accomplish two things with it. Let me give you an example first. I would call and says, hey, Mike, it's Borino again with ABC Real Estate. Just wanted to let you know, remember that house on Oak Street? We talked about it last time. It just sold. Now I did two things immediately. Offered something curious because now I can start a conversation. Obviously, the first thing they're going to ask me is, well, how much was it? Mm-hmm. And then two, I position again myself as an expert. I know the market. I know the area. I know what's going on. Mm-hmm. And instead of beating them over the head, list with me, I'm offering something interesting. It doesn't need to be huge. It doesn't need to be elaborate. Just a little piece of information. So those are some of the things you can offer. Yeah,
that's awesome. And in addition to the questions, you were saying bring something of value, whether it's, hey, I was thinking about you and I thought maybe you might like to do something on YouTube. Would you like me to help you with that?
Perfect. Right? Yep.
Okay. And then last question is Amir asks, says he's in Toronto. I guess Espresso Agent doesn't have FSBO data in Toronto. What are some other creative ways to?
My first place would be Kijiji.
She says 90%. Okay, advertise in Kijiji. Is there an agent, any different way to find FSBO?
Not that I know of. I am not as on top of Canadian market as in the US.
Kijiji sounds like it.
But Kijiji would be the first place where I would look.
Oh my gosh, that was so much good information. And the overall authentic approach that you have is just refreshing. It's great.
Thank you. I enjoyed chatting with you guys. If you're not a member, come join us. We have a cool group. We have over 28,000 agents already called Rockstars on Facebook, where we answer questions, offer tips, help each other out, give resources. Like the question about the Canadian market, that'd be a great place to ask because we got a whole bunch of people pretty much from all over the world. So come join us. And if you want me to help you, go check out the Go Borino because it's an ongoing coaching program where I hold your hand and we work together on how you generate leads, how you follow up with them, how you organize your business, all that is part of it. There's a video on the page that explains it in detail what the whole program is.
Awesome. Can't see why they wouldn't do that. Lots of good stuff there.
Cool.
Thanks, Borino. Thank you for your time.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me. Sorry about the trouble at the beginning, but I hope the content was worth it.
It just proves that you're authentic, right? It just shows your authenticity.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, that's really the secret. We hear like the new industry disruption is coming and technology will take over real estate. It's changing for sure, and we'll see more and more changes, and there'll be more and more attempts to take over our industry. But if you stay authentic, if you stay real, if you genuinely want to help people, there will always be room because this is always going to be a people business. It's too complicated, too complex, and most importantly, it's emotion-based. And machines cannot decipher that. They never will. Just like Zillow will never get 100% right a property evaluation, what that home is going to sell for. Only you as an expert can. Not only decipher what it's going to sell for, but help that homeowner understand what that price means, help them navigate that whole maze, and get them to where they need to be to solve their problem. That's never going to be replaced by machines, so you have nothing to worry about. You got to step up your game, of course. You got to have the right tools, systems, communication, the right education, and the right systems, just like Espresso and everything else, to keep up with your competition. But as far as your job, you're fine.
It strikes me that your approach too is a mindset shift for people. And one reason agents get nervous in making those calls is they feel like they're trying to get something from somebody or ask for something. If your mindset is, I'm calling to help them in any way possible, then the fear goes away. That's
a really good point. And the other party picks up on it.
Yeah, for sure.
All of a sudden, you don't have an agenda. You don't have a need.
Exactly.
You're just a cool person. Good.
Good stuff. Well, thanks to Espresso Agent Nation, all you guys who joined us. Appreciate that. Hope this has been helpful to you, and reach out to Borino for more information on his systems. They sound like they would really help move your learning curve along, obviously, really quickly. So
cool.
Good deal. Thanks, guys.
All right, you guys. Thanks for being here today. Take care. Bye, everybody. Bye. Let's go get them.